with the trade or business. If it's no, then you can't, no deduction. Yes, move on. Are you using part of your home as an employee? No. If you are, then it's no. There's special stipulations if you're working from home and your boss is having you do it. That turns into a whole different category, but not a home office. Is it used regular and exclusive? Which means that area that you're working in has to be only for business, and are you going in there on a regular basis? Now, what's a regular basis? From what I've gathered, they consider regular basis 12 to 13 hours a week, at least. Regular basis, that's what they kind of consider rule of thumb. Is it regular exclusive? Yes. Is it your principal place of business? Yes, and you allow deduction. If it's not, there are some cases that, let's say you're a doctor, but you meet, or you do something else off-site, but you meet clients in the home, which is the next question. If you meet patients, clients, or customers in your home, then you could claim it as a deduction if it's not your principal place of business. Also, there's a stipulation if you use the store inventory also. If it's a separate structure, then deduction is allowed. Now, there are some exceptions if you're doing home child care. These rules won't necessarily apply because, well, if you're doing home child care, you can't necessarily limit them to a separate area. So there's going to be a formula I'm going to show you later, but to determine the amount, the percentage, is by area. But when it comes to child care, it's by hours. Because, if you're doing child care, you're pretty much, you're using the whole house. Whole house, the yard, that's the presumption. So it's the hours of use versus the hours of the week. Okay, record keeping, okay, discuss that. Purchases, what, when, how much, the purpose, keep receipts, invoices. Keep a work log and schedule in case you need to show how often you go to work in your office. A home office worksheet. At some point, you're going to figure out how much, what percentage you're going to claim. So you have to determine what is your office. So you want to keep a diagram, like a diagram, blueprint of some sort to show dimensions like this is my office. Whether it be this room or this corner, this section, where it's clearly defined on your chart. In case you're checked out, that's something that you'll need to be able to produce, and that will help justify it. And there's going to be two ways to determine that percentage. If all your rooms are in general the same size, and you're using one of the rooms, so let's say you got 6 rooms, and they're all generally the same size, and you're using, say, 2 of the rooms. Well, 2 out of the 6, that's 1/3, 33%. Now, they're going to look at that as kind of high, but if you can justify it, be prepared to explain. The other way is by area. You will measure that room that you're going to use versus the square footage of the house. You'll divide it, and you'll come up with the percentage. And that's going to be the percentage you're going to use to help with the home office deductions. Because what you're going to be able to deduct as a home office, the indirect deductions is stuff like utilities, rent, cell phone, apparently not hardline, not landlines. For some reason, landlines don't count. So if you're using a landline, they won't expect you to get a second landline to use for that. But you can't use a percentage of landline. But other utilities, heat, security system, whatever it takes to maintain the house. Now, the direct office expense will be stuff that pertains to that office. Your office furniture, painting the office, stuff like that. That's going to be considered a home office direct expense. Then you have your home office, you have your business operating expenses, the stuff that you use to operate the business, irregardless of where your office is. Am I making sense? Yeah. So you're going to have 3 different categories. The reason why that's important, Because here's one rough stipulation. Your total amount that you're gonna be able to claim of your home office deduction is limited by the amount of money you make in that business. Okay? Where your negative number is going to come in is from your operating expenses. And they're going to be tabulated on separate forms. Okay, like I said, business expenses divided between business operating expenses, and you got the home office expense, direct and indirect. Business operating expenses, you have startup costs, any licensing fees, those fees that you have to pay to start the business, that's part of operating expenses. Supplies, entry fees, employee helper assistance that you pay, any fees that you pay to attend the shop and ship and shop, whatever we call this, sip and shop. I get it wrong at home. Is there a question in the back?
So going back to entry fees, what the fees that they pay, and you may have just answered it before I got it out. So when the vendor fees that they're paying to participate in the sip and shop as a vendor, that's tax deductible?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now, entry fees, I was yes, but some of the fees that may incur in starting up the business, getting your certifications, your licensing with the state, those are deductible as well. Well, those are part of basic business operating expenses. Now, home office expenses, as I direct, you have the office specific stuff, paint, repair, furniture, stuff like that. Indirect, rent, utilities, mileage, cell phone, and mileage, that's not correct. Typo, because mileage, that's something separate. Cell phone, but again, the total is deductible to the amount of your gross business income. I apologize for mileage, that's the second typo I've seen on my slides. I misspelled the word earlier, I don't know if y'all caught that. But the total of these expenses, you're only deductible up to the amount of your gross business income. However, you can carry it over. You can carry it over to the next year until you use it up. There's no expiration to that. Okay, home office calculation. Calculate the area of the home office, determine the total area of the home. Home office area divided by the area of the home. The result is a home use percentage. Then you multiply the percentage by home expense to determine home business expense. And of course, I noted home-based daycare, they have separate rules. Example, and this is a screenshot direct from Hub 587. Your home office is 240 square feet. Your home is 1,200 square feet. Your office is 20% of the total area of your home. So your business percentage is 20%. So when you add up, say you're renting a house, the rent that you pay, for the total of the year, you multiply that by the 20%, and that will be your business expense for rent for your home office. Same with utilities and so forth. This is using the number of rooms. You have one room in your house, use your business. Your house has 10 rooms, all about equal size. Your office is 10%. 1 divided by 10 of the total area of your office. In this case, your business percentage would be 10%. You figure out the method that's most advantageous to you. Whatever works better for you is what you use. Now, this was the figuring out what you can use. You got the gross income from business minus, deductible mortgage interest, business expenses not related for use in your home. Deduction limit, $1,000. Minus other expenses allocated to business use of the home, and other expenses up to the deduction limit. Once you exceed the deduction limit, you see there's a carryover. Depreciation is also, let's say you're buying a home, you're making a house payment. Your house payment is not deductible, but the real estate taxes and the interest, there's a portion of that. You can also do depreciation on the home. I'd be careful of that, because if you claim depreciation on your home, on your tax return, down the line, when you go to sell your home, there's negative impact. I would suggest not doing it, but I would do your research before you decide to do that. Because from what I read, it's taxed at a 25% rate when you do so. If you claim that depreciation, it'll come back to bite you later when you go sell the home. Because you claim depreciation is, used up in the home. So somewhere you're taking that value out of that. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Because parts of that, you may want to talk to an expert on that. Yes?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you do your individual taxes, your federal taxes, state, local, there's a standard deduction. Is there a standard deduction for this?
No.
Okay.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. And of course, they raise the standard deduction, so less and less people are using, or less and less people are itemizing. But let's say you happen to itemize, okay? If you claim the business deduction for stuff that would normally go on Schedule A, like real estate taxes, home mortgage interest, the part that you deduct there can't be used on Schedule A. So you have to subtract that amount. So for instance, if you have $1,000 of real estate interest, and if you use $200 as a business deduction, you can only claim $800 on Schedule A. Okay? Now, what they said on here, again, this is a screenshot right out of there. And then one thing they said right here, business expenses not related to the use of your home, 100%. And supplies and depreciation on some of that is home office stuff, okay? But it should not count on this number, okay? It's the stuff that goes to business use of the home should not, well, that's office expense, but supplies shouldn't be unless that's office supplies. That's a tricky area. But this explains it. Business expenses not for use of your home. No matter how you figure deduction for business use of your home, deduct business expenses that are not for the use of your home itself. Whether we do salaries, telephone expenses, depreciation of equipment on the appropriate lines of Schedule C or Schedule F. Schedule F is for farmers. These expenses are not for the use of the home, so they're not subject to the deduction limit for business use of your home. That is straight from 587. Okay? That means the expenses that are for normal operating, that's not part of the home office. They go on a separate form. They go on Schedule C. There's a separate form, Form 8829. That's for the home office expenses. And they'll ask you on there what was the gross income from your business. And they'll tell you what your limit is between your direct and your indirect. And let you know what you're carrying over. The amount that's going to be deducted is going to go from there to Schedule C. Then when you figure out everything else on Schedule C, then the results from Schedule C is going to go on to 1040. Make sense? Some helpful software. If you have the right software, it'll talk you through it. It'll help you with that. Myself, I use TaxAct. I've been using TaxAct for over 15 years for the business taxes and whatnot. The Schedule C stuff, that's included with the individual taxes. The 1065, the K1s, the partnership stuff, I have to buy separately. So they have a separate software package for that. TurboTax, HR Block, their software has been around a good while. I would recommend it. These others I'm not familiar with. I just did a Google search, and actually those 5 came up highly rated. So I'd be remiss in not sharing those with you. But Tax Act is what I use. So that's the only thing I can speak on. I've heard of TurboTax and people using HR Block and TurboTax. I've heard of them. I've heard positive about those. I don't know about the other 3. Are there any questions?
Really good intro stuff. I haven't heard some of this stuff. I haven't heard the way it's presented.
I thank you, and I will turn you back over to your host. You need your slides back up?
We're almost done. We know we got started and we're still tracking the time. Anybody have any questions about anything? I'll say when this is the next one. Okay, types of certifications, there are different types of certifications at different levels, local, state, or federal. Go out there, research and see whoever you want to work with. The state is probably the easiest and best to work with. You go through, I think it's the Department of Development, off the top of my head. Women-owned, minority-owned, and veteran-owned. Those are always advantages when you're trying to get certified with the state or any other certification with the government. You don't have to do anything with those certifications, but it's good to have them, just like everything else. Put it in your portfolio. Get you a notebook and get some of those plastic sheets. And every time you get something, your next, put that page in there. Duns, put that page in there. Your copy of your license, your vendor's license, put it in there. Your business plan, just have one notebook with all of this stuff in it. You don't want to have a physical notebook, have a folder on your computer just for that. But I recommend having a hard copy too, because computers break down. And after so many years, they're outdated anyway. Challenge. My challenge to you is to place all of these recommendations into your business if you don't already have them. If you do have them, and you're missing something that we set up here, or if you have something that we need to know about that I didn't cover, bring it up. Now's the time to share that information. Communicate with other vendors, network, go to different shows. I'm telling you, you've got information right here in this room, because somebody in here knows about a show that you don't know about, and that's how you make your money. Lenders and grantors often approve businesses that have these credentials that are established beforehand. So don't go up there. There was a photography with the city of Columbus. There was a photography lead that came down. I'm on their newsletter, so I'm seeing everything. Most of the things with the city is always construction work. So when I saw this thing for photography, I said, oh, hell, I'm applying for that. I go apply for it. I must have been the only photographer that applied for it. Met the deadline, did everything I was supposed to do. Then they got rid of the bid. I said, I did all that daggone work for nothing. But I may have felt like I did it for nothing, but they know my name now. They know I got my stuff in order and I was able to meet their deadline. And the next time they might need a photographer, they just wanted a photographer to go around and take pictures in different areas in Columbus, Whitehall, Grand View, Reynoldsburg. They just wanted pictures that they could use to create a magazine, like what you see Rose City magazine. They need somebody to do pictures with all 4 seasons. I said, oh, I could do that. They wanted me to give double price of what I would charge them. So that opportunity is always there. Linda says she goes and speaks to different, churches and events. That's money, you're a public speaker now. Somebody's gonna pay you, you got it up here. Somebody's gonna pay you for your knowledge. And you might not think that you know that much. You do. You know more than average. You're a specialist in your field. So I've had 2 people tell me in the last 30 days, don't sell yourself short. So I'm telling you, don't sell yourself short because you know more than you think you know. And the more you focus on what you're doing, the more knowledge you get, the smarter you get information from here and there, you get information from other vendors. It makes you an expert in your field. Any questions? Anybody want to add to what I put out there? These are the resources. They're on the last slide. I've got 2 pages of resources. I put up, these are just places I've used. Doesn't mean it's exclusive, but this is what I did. So I'm just sharing with you who I went through and it worked for me. And this is just the easy side of it. There's a lot of free stuff out there. Use it. SCORE, SBA, Women Business, ECDI. On that second email I sent you the price, the lender's sheet of what they expect. I called him up on the phone Friday. I said, I need a copy of that list, that checklist that you had me use when I applied for my business loan. He sent it to me just like that. And the other sheet, what was it? What was the second sheet that sheet I sent you all?
Marketing?
Lean plan, but all of that 1 page.
It was 2 pages.
Oh, yeah,
Lean, don't get it. The lean, okay.
Yeah.
That's the lean marketing, that's the 1-page business plan.
Yeah.
It's 2 pages, 1 page is a blank page, the second page is the directions on how to do that. You wanna do that, get practice. You can write on it, scribble on it, type it on a separate Word document, whatever you do. Get practice at what you're doing because in the long run, that's gonna help you have a strong, sound business plan. And it makes you look good when you present it to somebody else. If you need another set of eyes, ask one of us. I've got all of you on one email link. That stuff is out there for you. If anybody don't want to be contacted by somebody else, let me know. I'll tell them, don't contact Jane Doe because she says she don't want anybody calling her. But contact people. That's how you network, that's how you learn. Before I went through my LLC and got my certification with the state, I went 6 months to almost a year before I decided, okay, I'm ready to start my business. I went to SBA every week. I was going to an SBA free class. Most I've seen SBA charges $10 for a network. Not a network, a workshop. So they're cheap, and it really is a donation because they're nonprofit. I went through SCORE, I went through the Women Business Center, I went through ECDI. Anybody or anything that was out there that was free, I went. It only cost me some gas and some time. So educate yourself. Education is the key to your success. The more you know, the more you grow. So, when I was in the reserves, I worked full-time as a civilian for reserve unit, military police, and they used to steal our regulations. This was before everything was digital. And you know, y'all know the 2 military ladies, they know what I'm talking about. I'm a by the book person. So if the reg says you gotta have X, Y, Z in order to go to school, well, you better be able to present X, Y, Z to me, or else I'm not putting you in to go to that class, because when you get there and they say, well, you didn't have X, Y, Z, so they sending you back home, that commander's looking at me, why did you waste government money and send that soldier to school, and you knew he didn't have X, Y, Z? They're looking at me, it's my fault, they're expecting me to check everything before they go. So that's what they call it, looking out for the soldier. Because if you don't look out for the soldier, guess who butt they gonna grab? So, look at your resources, read it, don't get overwhelmed, do one thing at a time, when you feel like it. I'm just showing you it's there, it's free, and you can do it whenever you feel like it. It depends on how fast you wanna grow, and whether or not you want to jump from here to there, or just jump from here to here. So take your time. If you need questions, I'm here, call me, I'll be all right. And a lot of people get mad because I tell them this stuff. They do. You'd be surprised at how many people don't want you to know, because they're threatened. They think you're gonna get some money that they should be getting. So, it's, you pay taxes, it's yours too. So, go for it, ladies, go out there and make some money.
I was thinking, the more I've shared, the more I got back.
That's right, that's right.
I've always gotten, I feel like rewarded when I share, and I was like,
Yeah.
when people know your subject matter expert, or you're good at what you do, or you at least they're seeing you start, they want to be in business.
Yeah.
They want to share the wealth, like,
Yeah.
push that, because something like this is a big, I mean, when I first came, I was like, what's doing? My eyes was like, I can't believe this. Like, she's one of the only people I know.
The only thing I did was
Like
took that knowledge that Uncle Sam taught me and just applied it right here. This is what I did in the Army. So the only difference is I'm teaching somebody else's stuff, so it's the same thing. I'm teaching a group of women. And we got a right to know that. When I was in the Army, I tried to start a women's. All of them weren't feeling that. What you mean she's having a meeting just for female soldiers? Yeah, we had pizza too, so what? I'm always looking out for women, because we're the ones that sometimes get swept under the rug, and we're not acknowledged for what we know. But, yeah, exactly. Any other questions? Any other comments? Y'all see some more things, so I'm gonna take it home. And thank you again for coming, we appreciate it. Oh, yeah, let me hear. Thanks for reminding me, because I totally forgot. The management here at the Legion has changed. Karen Nolan is, Karen Wright is retiring. She has retired, but she's just hanging around hoping to transition. So Karen is retired. We have a new person here that's managing the hall and the other side, the bar side of the American Legion business. And American Legion is a nonprofit organization too. And they are national, and they've been in the works since Vietnam or World War II, but they've been around forever. So when I came home off of active duty, first thing I did was join American Legion. They also have the VFW, which is for foreign people who've gone overseas and fought foreign wars. I never went to fight overseas, but I did go overseas to Panama and Honduras and all that, but that doesn't qualify me. It qualifies you because she went over and served how many years? Okay, so she's really over in Afghanistan quite a few times. But anyway, long story short, the Legion's changing, the management has changed. Initially, I changed the date of my events. Instead of having them early during the day from 12 to 4, 12 to 5, I switched and I said, okay, well, I'll have them 2 to 6 because the girl that'll be here to open up for me on Sunday mornings, she works Saturday night. And it's not every Saturday, but some Saturday she works, and she's not trying to get up early in the morning to come sit over here. while I have my sip and shop and get everything set up. So then, as time went on, I am part of the board on this Legion, and, they voted me in without my presence.
Yo, Craig, yeah, street
Technically, I'm not, an executive board member. However, along with the changes, they've raised the prices for renting this home. So, their prices, it may not seem like a whole lot to everybody else, but I know what my budget is, and I can't afford to pay the rent to do the sip and shops. So I'm looking for another venue to have them, but as of right now, I have canceled all of my shows for the rest of this year until I find another venue. If things work out the way that I want, we own some land. I'd like to build my own daggone building.
She said.
Woo!
But we have to wait and see, and that's gonna take time too. But in the meantime, I got people who have paid me upfront for March 19th. That's not gonna happen. I have to give them their money back. March, April, I've got 2 people that's already signed up. So I have to give them their money back, and I'd rather give my money back to 2 or 3 people right now and let everybody know, don't sign up for anything else right now, because I don't know when we're gonna have it. So, in June, that one on the outside, that's a fundraiser for, what is it called? It's in Harrisburg.
Oh, the museum.
Yeah, that one still will happen in June. The only other outside one I can have is at my house. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
You don't have a sheet tent?
Yeah, I have done it in my backyard. You know?
It could be like the army. Oh.
Yeah.
Don't play.
So, I have done it. The first event I ever had was at my house, and that's what Laura signed up for. She came, hey, vendors that I have. I was like, oh, yeah, it was a few in there, and they liked it. They had fun. I didn't have food, so I've grown from that. So we got took out. We'll do some of the same things. And the other thing with the state, I don't have to have when I serve wine here, I don't have to have a liquor license because they have one. But that's the other thing. They were saying, well, you're not buying enough alcohol from the bar side, and they would, and I said, okay. I said, you know what? It's okay. I understand it's business. It's okay. The same guy that gave me this will give me something else. But the state of Ohio do allow you to get a transient liquor license, just like they allow you to get a transient vendor's license. So it's in the working. This is something that just happened last week. So as soon as I get the details, I'll be sharing it. Yeah. So if you all hear anything, let me know too.
Look,
Why
protesting like.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I almost like over here now.
Again, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you all learned something. And I hope that you what you're doing. And the next one, whenever we have one, I hope I have more information. I wanted some professional folks to come in, but sometimes they want you to pay them, and I don't have money to pay you, but if you want to do a pro bono and pass out your business card, we can do that too, because you might be a potential business. You know? So, it's all about looking out for everybody. But that's it, ladies, and thank you, God bless.
When we start protesting,
No.
with a little thing,